Oh, wow. All right. I think this is working. I need you guys to tell me. I need you guys to tell me if this is working because I have a whole new setup right now. And once I know it's working, I'll tell you all about it. Hi, Rochelle. Working. Wow. Here, I got a whole situation here. Check this out. Whoa! That's my talk show logo. I got to remember that it's backwards the way that I see everything. Yeah. So we're gonna hang out with Daniel today. What up, Ara? All right, I'm official now. I'll talk. I'll wait till Daniel's here, and then we'll talk all about it here. Let me send him the little link. All right. Dun, 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 dun. Daniel's been helping me test the system out, and he's always calling me with a different name. So I'm excited to see what name he's gonna choose this time. So how have you guys been? Ooh, yeah. Sir Daniel Graves, Esquire. All right, there he is. Ooh, there he is. And gonna bring him in. Hold on, let's make sure I do this. Let's do that. Hey!
Hello.
There he is.
How's it going?
It's going good. I didn't tell anyone yet. There's some people in here. Can you see the comments, Daniel?
No.
Oh, I had a set. I clicked on a setting so that you would see them, but I guess it didn't work. Daniel's been helping me test this setup out. Everybody, Daniel's like my how do I say? You're like my Patreon mentor. Like you've been doing this for a while, and I've been watching you from a distance, like the Bette Midler song, and considering doing it, and just like admiring is tenacity the right word?
That's a good word. Yeah.
It is a good word, huh? Yeah, you're like enthusiasm for it, and I was always like, wow, this seems like a lot, but I was nervous. I was nervous to do it because I didn't think that many people would want to come and hang out with me and sign up, And were you afraid of that?
Oh yeah, totally. That was probably one of the biggest sort of things holding me back at the very beginning because, a lot of people had told me to look into the crowdfunding thing, and I wasn't really too interested in doing something like that on a project to project basis. And it was really only after the sort of choir got a lot louder, from our fan base being like, dude, you should start a Patreon, that I really took it seriously. And it was actually my wife who helped fully push me over the edge. So I had just kind of like hemmed and hawed about it for a really long time. I was like, the fans want me to do this, but I don't know. I feel kind of weird, this and that. And then she like, being the scientist that she is, did all of the research and was like, basically gave me like a PowerPoint presentation about why I should do this. And I was like, okay, all right. So, I took the plunge, and it's been amazing, right? Like, of course, there are, how do you say, a couple of stumbling blocks along the way. And you've got to be open to listening to what, your patrons say they want, right? Like you sort of set up you set up your first, all your goals and your rewards and all this kind of stuff, and you think, okay, this is going to be perfect, and then it doesn't necessarily resonate with everybody. So you've got to remain open and flexible, and it's just this constantly like moving, evolving thing. But ever since I did it, I can't believe I took so long to take the plunge.
Yeah, me too. But I feel like for everyone that I spoke to about who does this, I feel like everyone went through the same exact thing of like being unsure about themselves and it for a long time. Yeah, I remember when I started it, I had actually been working on it for like a year and a half, and I had a note in my phone with all the ideas, and I also structured it a certain way, and then once everyone started signing up for it, I realized how much work certain things were, and I freaked out. Someone just bought a T-shirt. Sorry, I didn't turn that off. I realized how much work some of the things. So like I do these fantasy pictures, which I absolutely love to do them. But they are a lot of work, and I had to like change everything around and make that like a limited thing. I love doing them, but I have it set up so that I can like once everything is sold out and I only have room for that much, I'm only making this amount, and it's still a lot, but I get a lot out of it. The problem I have with it, you've seen them, right? Like,
yeah, of course.
Like I made the one of you where I'm Ellen and you're like this short, stumpy, yodeling girl with a silly hat on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
Well, I'm
there it is.
So, I'm pretty familiar with all of these pictures that you make, because you usually make a bunch of not safe for work ones that you text, the entire touring group when we're on the road.
Yes. Well, that's where the idea came from.
I know.
Yeah, I sit around like I still cause trouble, but I used to be the cause of a lot of trouble. But I find a great I get a lot out of just sitting back and letting all of this craziness unfold in front of me and being silent, right? And then I like to let it happen, and then I think my favorite topic on the last tour was Laser Boy and AKA Laser Punk. Is that what he's called? I don't even know, because I call him Laser Boy. Laser Boy and Isaac were bickering a lot. Like they were buddies, right? But they would just get tipsy, and for some reason they would go at each other, right? And it was always like funny at first, but then it would get really intense and weird, and we were all like, what? We didn't know what to make of it. So I, the next day, would sit in the lounge when everyone was sitting around all uncomfortable. Like, I'll never forget how that used to feel, when I used to get fucked up, was waking up the next day and being like, I kind of remember what happened last night, but I'm not sure, and I'm waiting for people to get mad at me, and and I would wait, and I don't experience that anymore. Thank God. Yeah. But I get to experience everyone else experiencing it now. And I get a lot out of sitting there and watching everyone come out and just kind of like sit down, and I'm just sitting there like Kermit drinking the tea, and I'm like, And then once everyone's there and not talking and being weird, I'll make like, a pornographic picture of Isaac and Laser Boy together in a soft moment, and I'll just text it to everyone that's sitting there, and usually this would break the mood and everyone's happy. But this just reminded me of this one time. Like, what? Do you remember what happened in Dallas? Something crazy happened in Dallas. I feel like I should be the one that really remember. I'm sure once you start talking about it, I'll remember. But I haven't thought about it in a while. What was it?
I like seriously scaled back my drinking on tour. I mean, I didn't give it up completely, and sometimes I do imbibe a bit too much. But I think for the most part, like I'm like a shadow of my former drunken self, which is just great. But I do find myself missing it sometimes, which is why when I do feel like the urge to go absolutely crazy, I just urge other people to do it for me. So
that's what
this is yeah. So that's what was really great about that US tour, because we had so many people that had never really been on that kind of adventure before. Like a US tour in like a bandwagon is nothing like a European tour in a bus, right? And so Laser Boy had never done a proper tour before, and Empathy Test had only done these kind of shorter 2 weeks long runs in tour buses and all this kind of stuff. And so I just don't think that they were like ready for kind of what it is like to be on tour, and that already sort of like added to the level of like maybe anxiety among like that group, like those touring parties. And I just know that someone was in a bad mood for something that happened at the show in Dallas. I don't even remember what it was because I usually
Are you
don't
saying
listen to-
someone so that you're not like blowing up someone's spot right now?
No, I actually don't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember.
For a second, I was like, maybe it was me. Sorry.
No. It was like either Laser Boy or one of the Empathy Test crew. Like, something super trivial, I think, had happened at the show. Like maybe monitors were bad, or maybe the crowd wasn't 110% there, right? Like, just one of those types of things that happen fucking constantly when you're an opening band. But it was like, I don't know, it was bumming them out for some reason. And it just kind of led to really heavy drinking. And the fact that now the Lizard Lounge is not open anymore, unfortunately, because of everything's going on. But, I'm friends with the owner and like the manager and everything there. So when we were done loading out, he like loaded tons of liquor bottles into the bandwagon. And so like whoever it was already kind of like on it, and that kind of inspired other people to get on it. So I just remember that I started encouraging people by being like, okay, let's see if you can do a shot of vodka and a shot of whiskey, like one after the other. And it just slowly devolved. And then it got to me being like, okay, I'll take one shot if you take 4 shots, like that type of stuff. And then, it ended up with people riding like little Lime scooters, the electric scooters through the parking lot, and crashing and crying, and you having to put people to bed and questioning whether or not they'd soiled themselves because of how drunk they were.
Yeah, I don't remember who that was.
Oh, no, I have no idea who that was. I wish that I could remember.
Everyone's going to ask. I made pictures about that moment too. But certain things that happen on tour stay on tour. That's the bro code of touring. You got to like, it's fun to gossip a little bit, but there's certain things that you just don't, Yeah,
I think it's just
a safe place.
Yeah, and it's such a disconnect from reality, and I think it's the craziness gets normalized, right? And when you're in the middle of it, you don't even stop to think about how like crazy it is or how embarrassing it might be if your mom or your fans found out what a jackass you'd been. So I think it's important not to throw people under the bus.
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you how many videos that I mean, you know how many videos I had on my YouTube of Drunken Tour shenanigans.
Yeah.
That, I think it was you and a few other people that were like, hey, like, you might want to go through those videos and think about deleting some of those. And I looked through them and I was like, yep, I'm not this dude anymore. And there was some really, really funny moments in there. But like, that's something that it comes and goes in waves of like, I don't know. I'm often hearing like people will bring up situations and stories, and it's funny to hear about like this crazy shit that we used to do, but like then it's kind of also embarrassing and like cringy. Yeah. So like I don't know. It just depends on the mood I'm in, maybe like how I'm gonna react to it. But like I don't want to be remembered as like the dude who drank so much and threw up all over the girl while everyone poured gasoline on me and lit me on fire. Wait a minute. Oh no, go ahead. Yeah. So how do you take those, that like people eating ham off your head? Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, there's that. I just want to point out that a little chat icon appeared, so I'm actually able to see the chat now, which is weird. But
oh, cool.
So now I can read all of you guys. So I think stories are way better when they're stories, because, you know, in your mind, you sort of like have this romanticized version of whatever happened, and it kind of filters out all of the really sort of cringy, terrible realities of those stories. And also, you know, as time goes on, stories tend to take on a life of their own, and you know, it's just so much better than reality. It's much more interesting, and I think if we had like cell phones recording all of the sort of crazy, awesome stories of like Led Zeppelin and stuff like that, I think that we would see a lot of similar stuff where it's just like drunken idiots making fools out of themselves, and you just kind of watch these videos and go, oh, that's not cool. That's just kind of, don't do that, right?
Yeah.
So this is kind of how I feel about it, is that a lot of these situations are fun when you're in them, but you know, they're just kind of highlighting you at your at best you're at your like most stupid, and at worst you're just kind of like at your freaking worst, right? And so I think it's kind of fun to take a walk down memory lane sometimes, but as I get older, I find myself being less nostalgic about all of that kind of stuff. You know, it's funny when I hear the story about pissing my pants and vomiting all over Tim's shoes and stuff. But you know, if I imagine like that I would have to go back and like relive something like that again, I'm just like, please no, I don't want to do that ever again.
Yeah. You know what this reminds me of actually is the story of Jesus. You know, I was watching that. The other day I watched with Emma, I showed her that. Have you ever seen Apocalyptica?
Oh God, yeah, but it was like ages ago.
Mel Gibson movie. Really good movie.
Yeah.
And then she was like, wow, this was amazing. And the next day I was like, you know, he made a movie about Jesus, and I never saw it. So we watched The Passion of the Christ. And it triggered a whole conversation about Jesus. I don't want to talk about that now. I don't like talking about political or religious shit. But like, you know, think about that. That's like the ultimate story of like just getting passed on and like probably added to and like sensationalized and like now here all like, you know, billions of people are like Jesus, and like who knows if he was just like some dude at the pub that like said something wild one day, you know?
Yeah. And it's totally possible, and I think that's what makes kind of like, you know, the hyper real stories much more exciting and fun than the sad reality.
Yes, I agree. A lot of people are commenting here, and I just wanted to say, like, I don't, you know, this is my first time doing this. I really had just the idea to do this a couple of days ago because, you know, Daniel, you suggested that I wanted to do a little refresher on my Patreon, and you suggested asking people what they wanted, and someone suggested doing this. So you know, and then I was like asking you how to do it, and I'd been noticing you had that microphone that you have right there with the arm, and I was like, wow, that looks expensive and so cool, and I wanted to be as cool as you. So I asked you what I should order, and you told me. And the arm didn't get here yet, but I do have the microphone here. So yeah, and you've been helping me set this stuff up. So this is going to be a little hiccupy. I'm going to learn a flow as I do a few of these, and you know, all the bells and whistles that the program offers. And as far as you guys go in the comments over here, I think like, you know, usually Daniel, when I'm doing, I don't know how you well, I've watched some of your things. You do the same thing. Like when it's like, okay, you're done talking, you're like, and then you do this for like 2 minutes, and you're like reading the things. I don't really want to do that with you here. So I'm probably gonna finish and stay on eventually when we're done. But like, I would like if everyone would hold their questions until we kind of take them. I think, is that a better idea? So that we could be like, all right, let us have your questions, and then they'll all pop up, and we don't have to search for the questions. Is that a good idea?
I mean, you gotta figure out what works best for you, man. Like I hope that I'm not sitting there like staring at the screen for 2 minutes. Sometimes I will search for like 10, 15 seconds. It can feel like 2 minutes, because dead air is crappy. But usually it's when there's just a massive flood of questions. Like if I'm doing it like on Instagram or Facebook, when you literally get like 300 comments. And you've gotta like filter out some of the really jackassy ones and try not to look like you've read something that offends you. And you're just like, no, all right, hey.
Well, that's why this Patreon thing is so awesome, because I didn't realize I didn't realize how awesome it was going to be for this reason until I started doing it. On Instagram and Facebook, which is like the main place we stayed in touch with our friends and fans and everyone in between and before and above for a long time. And there was a lot of stuff to filter out. So it was hard to really give everyone the attention they wanted. And you would find often that for me personally, I would sometimes spend a lot of energy on someone or some things and come to find that those people didn't really deserve that energy or like didn't want it. And I just like didn't know. And like, then there's a bunch of people that really wanted my attention that I would just be like, so spent after I talked to this person for 15 minutes that I would be like, all right, I'm off to a different topic now. So the Patreon is a way to kind of filter all those people into one spot. And like, now I know everyone that's here wants to be here and wants to absorb me and you. I have like, I have to say, I was saying before I was really nervous about starting this, and now I have about 100 people in here, and but you have like 600 people now. This is what I think about this. I have like over 30,000 followers on my Instagram. How many followers do you have on your Instagram?
I think the band has 13,000, and maybe I have close to 15,000.
Right. So you have half what I have. Let's just say that. Okay.
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
And so I have 30,000, and I have 100 people who want to have the close contact with me and be involved in what I got going on here. You have half of that and 5 times more people. So what that says to me is that most of the people that follow me are hate followers.
It's well, I don't think it's I think that's partially true, but
I know, I'm just joking. But this was actually a segue. I wanted to actually put you on the spot and ask you to list 5 people that you hate follow. I'm just kidding. We don't hate follow. Actually, you can't be in this band if you hate follow anyone. It's like a rule, right?
I'm gonna just like go unfollow a few people right now.
Everyone's like, "Oh, he's gonna follow me."
So just to kind of like go back to what you were just saying about how Patreon sort of like filters out a lot of the noise. I think what is great about Patreon is the sense that, there are a lot of people that follow, it's also kind of connected to what you were just saying about hate followers. But I think it's just in general, like the people that sign up for Patreon are the people that really care about you and your work and are genuinely excited to be there and like to be having those conversations and have those interactions. And I think that when you have this platform that is just so filled with positivity that doesn't contain any of that, just like the dark side of social media, it's so refreshing. And I think that is actually one of the best things about this that I didn't even personally like predict when I was launching my Patreon, right? Like I was like, okay, cool. People who like my music are going to support me, and it'll be just a kind of cool symbiotic transaction, right? Like I still thought it was going to be transactional. I didn't realize that it would develop into like a legitimate community, which is probably like the best thing about it, and the thing that I expected the least. And it makes me so excited to do like patron live streams as opposed to like the public ones. Like, don't get me wrong, I like doing the public ones. That's why I do them. But there's a lot more sort of like sifting through the trash.
It's a lot more
you know?
meaningful interactions. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I had no idea this was going to turn into a sort of community. And now I find myself every time I'm making a post and I'm talking to everyone and I use the word community, I really feel this overwhelming gratefulness and like love for everything that's happening here, you know.
Yeah.
It's really special.
I mean, I absolutely feel the same way. And, you know, I don't think that I would have nearly as many supporters as I do right now if I hadn't been so invested in, like, you know, those kind of like public outreach things. You know, YouTube streams. I was doing live streaming like for the last couple of years pretty aggressively. And it's just because I realized that it was resonating with people in a positive way, especially after I changed my kind of like public, not persona, but like attitude, like the way that I interacted with the public. Because I used to be like really kind of, I don't know, edgelord is not the right word, but I certainly like attracted a lot of negative attention. And once I kind of shed all of that and started focusing on the positive things and then doing all of these public engagement, I feel like I kind of primed people for what the Patreon community would eventually become.
Yeah. Yeah, I experienced the same exact thing. I think, you know, I used to be so careless and I don't know what the destructive, like, but I thought I was being funny and playful, you know what I mean? But I didn't know any better. And I think, you know, there's a lot of people that get stuck there. And I feel almost like people like you and me who are able to like go through the bad parts of like that stuff and recognize and learn from that stuff and like kind of level up. That's like, for me, that's where I found the most kind of like, it's almost like I don't want to say enlightenment. I just feel like I evolved into my next step of like public figureness. You know what I mean? Like a more responsible, caring adult version. And I don't regret any of the stuff that I went through that was negative, because that shows people, I think it shows people like, you know, a willingness to change and overcome bad situations and put your best foot forward. That's a great example to show people, and especially if you have people following you and paying attention to what you're doing. I think that's very valuable, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all throughout our lives have these kind of maybe not necessarily a come to Jesus moment, but, you know, we all have these kind of, there are these, it's not necessarily an event, but I feel like, you know, all throughout your life, sometimes the light bulb goes off and it helps you course correct in a way that is much more positive. And I've probably got 3 or 4 of them in my own life that I can point to as having led me to get here and or get to this point. And certainly, I'm grateful for the let's say the circumstances that made me have those realizations, right? Because, you know, nobody's born perfect, right? We're all just kind of like trying to make sense of life and how insane it is, and we're always going to be making mistakes. But I think as long as your focus is on self-awareness and betterment and, you know, trying to do the right thing, I think you'll eventually have those sort of course-correcting moments throughout your life. And I have no doubt that in, you know, the future, I'm going to have more of them.
Absolutely. I embrace those moments myself. So
they're painful, but they're, you know, they're good.
They can be, but, you know, I really try and condition myself to whatever bad is happening to really be like immediately like, what's the lesson here? You know, there's always a lesson. There always is a lesson. And if you can focus on what the lesson is and like the very least take away from whatever situation that's negative or feeling bad happening to you, then you have something to be grateful for. And then if you can focus on being grateful, I mean, that's how I get through shit like this. You know what I mean?
It's totally true, but it takes a lot of, you know, strength to be self-aware like that because, I know that I spent a good portion of my life like finding people to blame for, why my life wasn't going the way I wanted it to go. And eventually after a while, you realize that the sort of constant factor in all of these like negative things that are happening in your life is you.
Well, it's fun. Yes. You're saying this now, and I immediately thought of how you used to be compared to how you are now as in like your career. And this transformation with you is especially what made me want to work with you now, because I remember, because I saw it all play out, from afar, of like how you used to be and how you changed and like where you're at now. And I remember you used to blame, a lot of different people, managers, labels, whatever, for not having what you thought that you should have. And one day we had a conversation. I feel like, I want to talk more about this too, like being in the band together and everything, about where we were at in life. And like, I feel like we came together at this very magical moment where we were both like, we've known each other forever. I feel, what I feel like? I feel like, we were both married to other people, and then like but we were like always like good friends. And then like one day, like it was like, all the other relationships were dissolving, and it was like, I love
the stars
you,
just
and you were coming
aligned.
like,
Yeah.
I love you too, and like and it just aligned. But experiencing you now compared to back then, I still loved you, but like it's so much more inspiring to me to see what you're capable of once you kind of like, you were like, fuck this, like this, it's me, and I'm gonna figure out how to do this shit. And you held yourself accountable, and you made a lot of changes about yourself. And from the situation I came from, I think that it was perfect timing,
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I totally agree. And I feel like sort of the whole dynamic of the band changed when somebody got involved who kind of was on the same wavelength. And I don't want to say that like everybody else that I've worked with in the past wasn't, positive or dedicated or anything like that. But I felt like, when we kind of decided to get married, after the other divorces, there was just kind of I don't really talk this way, but there's kind of like a resonance change, like the way everything kind of worked. And I think it's so important to surround yourself with people who are also, who are not only sympathetic to kind of where you're at in life, but also have a similar outlook and are really dedicated to, moving forward in a positive way.
Yes. Once you're in a situation with people that are like-minded like this, I mean, I feel it's like you put the two chemicals together and they turn into a whole other thing. It's like, It's really fun to be drunk, and it's also really great to do cocaine. But if you do those both together, it makes a whole other chemical in your head. It's true.
Yeah.
I used to do cocaine, but I would only do the cocaine when I was drinking. One time I was like, I've never done cocaine sober. And I did it, and I was like, this sucks. But then I would be like, oh, I'm never doing cocaine again. But then I would drink, and you know what I would do? Cocaine. You know what I don't do now?
Both.
Exactly. Anyway, so let's talk about our first tour together ever. And I'm not talking about 2 or 3 years ago, however long it was now. I'm talking about
2009.
Was it 2009? Were you on the tour that the first time that Combi opened for Rammstein? Were you doing the off days? Because you wound up like, you guys wound up touring with us a lot. Like usually, I don't know if a lot of people don't know this. I know I've explained it before, but normally a band will, the way it works is a band, let's say Rammstein goes on tour. They're going to do a tour for their new record. It's going to take 2 to 3 years to do the whole tour, because you're going to do America once, then you're going to do Europe once, then you're going to go back to America and do the other markets in America once, and then Europe and vice versa, and then you're going to Australia once, you're going to South America, you're going to do festivals. So it takes a while. So what normally happens is you'll pick a band to go. The big bands will pick a band to go out with them for the first leg of the tour. And then, if it goes well, you might be lucky enough to be asked for another leg or the whole tour or whatever, which is what happened with Combi Christ. And with you guys, we took you out for the first leg, and we liked you guys so much, and we just took you. We were like, yeah, we're gonna do the whole record and just stay with us. And then once that was over, and we had to pick a different support band, we just couldn't pick a different one, and we were like, let's just keep bringing them, and we just did that. You guys were like really a part of, like, ingrained into our crew. But I remember on the first tour, and I've said this to you before. On the first tour, the first time I ever met you, I remember listening to your music before the tour, and I was like, what the fuck is this? But to be fair, I mean, I was not a fan of any of this music at all, not even Combi Christ. I mean, I was touring with Andy when I met him, and we became good friends because we were on the bus together. And then I watched his show halfway through the tour finally, and I was like, what the fuck is going on here? I was like, I didn't understand this music, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I've liked industrial bands growing up, but I was more of like a punk or a, like, kind of drummer at heart. So I was like, you know, I hear drums, but I don't see them. I don't get it, you know? And we kind of like built it into our own thing. And for me, whenever I get involved in a band and I learn the songs the way I learn them and I perform, then I fall in love with the music. It doesn't matter what band. You know, I remember I was asked to try out for Coheed and Cambria one time, and I really did not like that band, but I was like doing a favor for a friend, and I learned 4 of their songs, and then and to this day, like, when I hear those 4 songs, I fucking love those songs, you know, but I don't really like them other than that. But I did not like your music, Daniel, and I couldn't understand but then we went on tour, we became great friends, and I would hear you playing when I was getting ready every night, and I was just like, yeah, this music's so bad, I don't get it. And then the tour was over, and, you know, you get like a little sad when you're off the tour. It's always like the tour's great for the first week, and then there's this whole middle period of 5 weeks where you don't know, like, your ass from your elbow, and if you want to like puke, die, or go home, or like keep partying. So you just keep partying, and then by the end you're like so ready to go home, and then a week later you're like, oh no, I miss everybody. And like, I'll never forget that I had that, and what my big takeaway from that tour with you was, maybe I'll listen to the music and see if it'll feel like I'm getting ready to go on stage. And I put on the record, and I was like, I kind of like it now. And I fell in love with the perfection. And, you know, I mean, so I wanted to know what your first impressions were of me and, like, the situation that we had when you were first, like, you were newer to touring then, so was it intimidating for you to come out with us, or like was it like, since we were so welcoming, was it like really easy? Like, what was going on for you?
Well, it was my first real, like, proper European tour. So I think I had done, I mean, let's like roll it back just a little bit. Like, so the first tour that I ever did, like real tour, that was 8 or 9 weeks in the US with Imperative Reaction. So, like, that was like my first real taste of touring, and I loved it. Like, because I was just getting hammered every single night, and I was just like crawling into the bus like, yeah, tour. And
pee on me. I know.
Yeah, just whatever. I was like, just bring it on. I'm made for this, man. And
so you were like Laser Boy.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I wasn't taking showers with bottles of water, but wasn't taking bottled water showers. But that's another story. So, yeah, I mean, we got I don't even remember how we got that tour with you guys, because, you know, I won't go into like tons of details, but like Andy and I had some not super awesome history, and so I wasn't entirely sure how that was going to work out, right? So I was a little bit nervous about that, because him and I never like specifically buried the hatchet or anything. It was just kind of like, you're going on tour with them, and I was like, okay. And I don't even remember who did this. Like, who set this up? Was it our label, because we were on a mutual label at the time? I don't even remember how that like came to be administratively. But
did we have the same manager at the time?
No, I didn't. I didn't get hooked up with him until after our U.S. tour later that year.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, and I wasn't even being booked by Jan at that time. So the only thing that we really had in common back then was our labels. So that might have been it. But either way, like I was a little bit hesitant given the history that I had with Andy, but I was really amped because I knew how hard you guys partied. And so, and so I don't know if you remember, we all went to dinner like the night before, maybe the day, like 2 days before the tour kicked off. And we went to the Reeperbahn in Hamburg, and Andy was like super cool and normal with me. And he was like, yo, we're going to go to the bar and we're just going to do endless shots of Jaeger, but we're all going to get Coca-Cola and Joey's going to get Jaeger.
Oh, you were there that night.
Yeah,
Oh,
I was there.
Fuck.
And I remember you being carried out of that bar. Yeah, I remember you being carried out of that bar. It's a good prank, though. It's a good prank. It's mean. It's a good prank. So, I was like gung-ho about that tour from that point on. I was like, these guys get it. And then like on day 1 or 2, like you and me were like smoking in the production office at like Markthalle in Hamburg. Like we weren't supposed to be there, and we're like drinking and spitting on the floor. I think somebody even like peed on the floor at the production office.
Oh my God.
And nobody said anything. Nobody did anything. And I was just like, this is life. This is living. This is like, and I look back on this now like, God, I was such a piece of crap.
Yeah, like I think about this lately. It's so like when you're on tour, you pull up into this town and it's like the circus arrives and the bus unloads and everyone's doing their thing, and then you're there and you're like in the town and you're like, this is my town for the day, and you're walking around and it feels like a certain way, but in reality it's like this is just some other people's town and you're just showing up and being annoying and walking around their town. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there we were, just like in the Markthalle, like, I'm gonna smoke where I want and spit on the floor. Like, what fucking assholes? You know what I mean? I'm very thankful that I'm self-aware enough to know that this is not the way to be anymore. But I feel like everyone goes through this when they start touring. You ended that tour with a bad injury. No, was that tour?
Yeah.
What happened?
We were in. I want to say we were either in Zagreb. No, we were in Zagreb.
No.
And
we were in Serbia.
Yeah, Zagreb is the capital of Serbia.
Wait, no, that's Croatia. Wait. What's the capital of Croatia?
Shit.
I win. I was right.
Yeah, no, you're right. Oh God,
now you fucked me up. What's the capital of Serbia?
Oh my God.
Someone's gonna answer and tell us.
It is Belgrade.
Belgrade.
And that was crazy because there was the bomb threat that somebody phoned into the frickin' venue, remember? So we had the police escort when we entered Serbia, all the way to the venue, like from the country's border to the venue. We had the police escort, and
that was intense.
And and so there was like all the security there, and everybody being like, "Yeah, be prepared for whatever could happen." And we're just like, "This is fucking crazy." So we after the show, of course, we all got totally wasted, and we were having like a food fight with the produce, and Andy and I were on one side, and Zmar was on the other side of this hallway, and we were like launching oranges at one another, and like Andy did some sort of like thing where he winked at Zmar, and Zmar and him had some thing planned where basically Zmar pitched the orange as hard as he could at me, and Andy ducked, and it hit me in the side of the face, and so I got mad, and I like pitched the orange as hard as I could at Zmar, and it hit him in the eye. And Zmar just like went red, it was like a rhinoceros that got pissed off, and he charged me down the hallway, and I thought he was going to rip my head off, but he just grabbed me and gave me like a bear hug and shook me.
Yeah.
But one of my ribs popped.
Oh.
And so I was like, oh my God. And it's like breathing hurt. And I'm like, we're in Greece the next day. I'm like, Jan, I don't think I can do this. And he's like, just do it. And then I fell off the stage in Greece, like during sound check. So bad.
Everyone had that one friend growing up that like whenever you get in a play fight, they would like take it too far. And I would always recognize who that, because I got beat up so much when I was a kid. So I was always like, I'm not gonna fuck with that person ever.
Yeah.
And Zemar was that person. He was always like, huh, okay, it's funny. I think it's funny, right? It's funny, right? Nope. And he would like break you.
Yeah. But I mean, I had one of those sort of moments with I think you were actually there, like with Tim, my old drummer. We had like an ice cream sandwich fight in the bus, and we were like throwing ice cream sandwiches at one another, and he got like mad, like had one of those moments, and he like lunged across the bus at me with an ice cream sandwich and hit me in the face with an ice cream sandwich directly out of the freezer, and it broke my nose.
No, I was not there for that. I wish I was.
Well, it was a Combi Christ tour for sure, because I remember he broke my nose, and then he went to bed, and I was so pissed that I took an ice cream sandwich, I took it out of the wrapper, and I opened his suitcase, and I threw the ice cream sandwich in there, and I went to bed. Now get this. His MacBook was right there. It ruined his MacBook.
Oh my God. Did you have to buy him a new MacBook?
No, I was like, you broke my nose, dude. We're even, man.
There's some gray area there. It's like, what's worth more, the nose or the MacBook? I would say the MacBook.
I'll never forget when he turned it on. It made this like sizzling sound, and it was like USB device not recognized, but there was no USB plugged into the computer. So
it was
like,
ice cream.
Yeah, we're like, you didn't install the drivers for the ice cream sandwich.
It would have been great if it opened and someone in the back was playing like when he discovered it was broken, was playing like the ice cream truck song.
Yeah. Fuck. Yeah, I don't want to do that ever again.
Fuck. You know, me and Jinx go back like far. We did our first tour ever together. Jinx has been playing a lot of guitars on the new Aesthetic songs, and him and I played in Amen together. And you just reminded me of this one time we were playing somewhere in England, and I was sitting across the dressing room with him. I think it was in like Newcastle, and he was on the other side, like really far. It was like a kind of long balcony hallway thing, and he was making out with this girl. And I had this big tomato, and I just go, "Yo, Jinx!" And he turned and looked at me right as I thought, and I smashed him right in the face, and it was big. He fell down. It was like a strong man punched him in the face. Oh, poor Jinxie. Oh, I love him. But hey, so a couple of people, I asked some people some questions earlier, and like a bunch of people asked like the same kind of questions. So like I wanted to just ask you generally, like, how do you like touring? How do you like touring now compared to? I mean, we all know why you like touring back then. So now, for me, I used to love to party and everything, and really it became all about the party for me, and to the point where when I got sober 4.5 years ago. I had a moment where I said to myself, I don't know if I want to do this job anymore. I couldn't imagine, and I think this is something that a lot of people go through when they decide to get clean and stuff. I couldn't imagine doing the stuff that I was used to doing fucked up sober. Yeah. It's terrifying. So I really couldn't imagine going on stage sober. I couldn't imagine being on tour with the people I got fucked up with sober, being in party situation sober, and I just was like, I don't think I want to do this anymore. And then I was like, what the fuck am I gonna do? Work at Starbucks, you know? Yeah. Like, how are you now? Like with touring, like as you get older, do you still enjoy touring? Do you enjoy it for different reasons? Like, where are you at with all that?
It's sort of a complicated question because, you and I have had these talks, like, in the back of the bus at the end of the night, that type of thing. You, I think, are a dyed-in-the-wool performer. Like, you came out of the womb and you were a performer. And me, I think my sort of, I get my mental peace from creating. So, like sitting here with all my stuff alone, kind of thinking about all my silly artist philosophical things. Like that's what gives me the most joy.
Uh-huh.
And so when I sort of, I didn't stop drinking. Like, I still have like a whiskey or a beer or two before we play to kind of take the edge off, because I still have terrible stage fright. I still have really bad stage fright. And I think that fueled a lot of the heavy drinking in the past. Mm-hmm. But, you realize when you're up on stage and you've got like half a bottle of whiskey in you, you're like, man, I am killing it. And then you see the videos, you're like, oh my God, I fucking just, oh God, it's like the worst. So, I mean, what reality is versus, what it is in your mind, that kind of goes back to the story thing. But I do enjoy being out, seeing the world, waking up in a different city, going and getting like coffee at a different place, having breakfast with, my bandmates or tour mates, being around people like Jared and Christian. Like I don't ever get to see them outside of touring. So it's like, I really like the kind of camaraderie that comes with everybody being there for a shared purpose. And I'm super humbled that, that purpose is for the music that I create here. So while I'm not like living for the stage in that sense, I really love the kind of, I love the camaraderie, and I love I love like the working part of it, like setting up and tearing down and everybody feeling like, we did a good job when the trailer door closes. And, now instead of drinking a bottle of vodka to celebrate that, I have ginger tea with you in the back lounge.
You do go to bed a little early. I do like to stay up and watch movies. And you would, I tried to do an Indiana Jones marathon with you for a week, and you kept only watching the first 20 minutes with me. And it was a little disappointing.
I'm sorry.
And I think you wouldn't even sit with me for the Crystal Skull.
Well, that makes sense. It's a terrible movie. Yeah, it's not good. But
how are you with like I feel like this is a weird question, but how are you with missing people like back at home and stuff like this?
I mean, just in general, or like in the music business sense?
Well, let me explain to you. Like, I struggle to explain this to my girlfriend a few times. Of course, I miss my family and my girlfriend and my son and everything when I'm away. But I feel like I've conditioned myself for this life in such a way that I don't allow those feelings to kind of overcome me and dictate any kind of negative emotions in a way. So it's just kind of like I just kind of like the way I like my brain works is like, well, I'm here now and I'll be there when I'm there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, of course I wish my son or my girlfriend or whoever were with me at that time, but I just feel like when I've been touring for like 16, 17 years, and I started when I was like 22, 23 years old, and I've missed so many things. My, several people in my family that I was close to passing away, friends, weddings. I almost missed my son being born. I've missed almost every one of his birthdays. I feel awful about it, because he doesn't really understand, that he's too young to get that this is like my, the way my job works and stuff like this. But I just kind of like, I don't know if I'm like calloused because I kind of just always said to myself, like, this is what I'm doing. This is where I put myself and this is how it is, So I just like, what do you have a hard time being away from Stephanie and Mara?
I sort of oscillate, between different emotional states. I think a large part of me is kind of like you are, in the sense where I've just sort of resigned myself to the reality of, what this lifestyle entails. I think I'm incredibly lucky, that my wife is so understanding and supportive. Like, I don't think that, I don't think that everybody is let's say, not every partner has what it takes to, date a professional musician, or, even somebody that has to travel all the time, like a truck driver, or somebody that's got to travel, whatever, business trips all the time. It's like you got to be like a certain kind of person to be okay with that. And I'm super lucky that, my wife is somebody like that. But that said, like, she and I have both been working very hard to sort of like make a life for ourselves where we're flexible enough to be able to come visit one another. So it's like now she's got a job that she does from home that offers her flexibility to come visit. So, she came and visited on the Lindemann tour. She came and visited on the last US tour. And, she's, when things open up again, she's going to be doing a lot of traveling as well herself. And, I'm going to be able to go and do that because of the flexibility that my job entails. So I think it's making sure that you have people, or let's say like a partner that is equally dedicated to building a life together that works for the both of you.
Yeah.
I think that's super important. And then, with things like missing, my cat or my friends at home and stuff like that, that doesn't really bother me too much. I do feel bad, when I miss like important life moments, right? I've missed some pretty important weddings and things like that, and those kind of gnaw at me. But for the most part, I'm just kind of okay with it, and I'm lucky that I have a wife that's okay with it too.
Yeah. You guys are awesome. I also have a similar situation with Emma. She's the first girl that I've been with who's been super supportive of what I do, and she definitely misses me a lot when I'm away, but she never gives me shit about what's going on or where I am or who's around or anything. She's super understanding and super supportive. And I think it's because a big part of it is because she does something that she's passionate about and she's very driven by, so she gets it, Yeah, I'm super thankful for that. And I see that you have that with Stephanie as well. And then a lot of times like there can be band members in bands where they have a partner that is the opposite of that, right? And it really can weigh down the band and like be a drag.
But I get it. It's like humans in general are not like built for this life, and finding like a partner who's not only like is like, it's not even finding a partner that's also built for that life. It's like finding a partner that is wired to like kind of tolerate that, and that's not easy. And it's not how people are used to having relationships, right? Like you're not used to having a relationship apart. Yeah.
And also like there's a lot of people out there that aren't really built for this like lifestyle musicians. Like, I remember when I was first starting touring and being successful in my goals, and I felt like I had all these people that I grew up with that I kind of like was leaving behind, and I was doing music with for so long, and I tried to bring them with me and like give them opportunities to like be in bands or like, and I can't tell you how many times that blew up in my face, that I recommended someone or like flew someone to do some tour because I really just wanted to give them a gift of, and I had to realize that was a weird thing about me. Like I was kind of like projecting. I wanted people to experience what I was experiencing because I thought they deserved it, but maybe like they didn't want it, or a lot of them thought they wanted it. And like, how many people do we know that like try to tour and once they're doing it, they're just like, you know what, this fucking sucks. And like that, a lot of people think it's like super glamorous and stuff, and it's very not glamorous, but you really have like, I love it. I love masturbating in my socks, like, no, I'm just kidding. I mean, I don't do that really anymore, but I used to. But touring can be gross. You don't shower a lot. You're sleeping in weird situations.
It's just it's super romanticized, right? Like so many people in the public that when they think about it, they don't have an accurate picture of what it's like. And
right. All they've seen is Spice World.
Yeah, and you think that, or the freaking Taylor Swift or Katy Perry like tour docs, and you're like, wow, this is great. And it's not eating cold French fries in a basement, you know, and peeing in a water bottle because there's nowhere else to go before you go on stage and all that kind of stuff. And I think it's like that with a lot of things in life. You know, you have one sort of, you've got this imagined, idealized version of what something is, and then reality sets in, and you're just like, oh, this isn't what I signed up for. And I think touring really is that way, especially because the disconnect between like what people think it is versus what it actually is just so big. It's so big.
It is. I feel we've been doing this for an hour now, and I actually have a lot more things I would love to talk about, but I have set like some pictures aside that I think I'm real excited to like show you and talk about. So I think I want to cut to that right now because
all right,
you looking tired. No, I'm just kidding. You don't look tired. I just want to do the pictures.
It's 9 p.m., man.
I know.
It's very late over here.
I know. All right. So like, it was like just a few little pictures I found. So like,
oh God.
Remember what's going on here? Remember this? This is like,
oh yes, I know.
This is kind of like this was the kickoff to like when we started really like doing everything. Like for me, I came across this picture and I was like, wow, I remember when we were like rehearsing in the room and like getting ready to do the video and like go on tour and like and we were rehearsing in that studio that our friend lent us, and it was like there was nothing around except this one brewery that had these like awesome tacos. What was it? Cauliflower tacos?
Cauliflower tacos, and they had something else that was really amazing, but for some reason I can't remember. But yeah, they're
the cheese things.
Yes,
they're in the picture.
Yeah. But they were just like cheese nuggets or something like that.
They were like cheese curds.
Cheese curds, deep fried cheese curds.
Yes. And this was right around the time that we went shopping for dresses together.
Yes.
Do you remember?
Walmart in Burbank.
Yes. This is when we were shooting the No Boys Allowed video. That was fun.
Yeah.
Actually, I have a question from my friend Ace. Mm-hmm. It was a very, very good question. He was curious, how many times or how long do you wear a pair of underwear before you're like, all right, these underwears, I don't wear these underwears anymore. You know, like it's time for me to get new underwears.
Mm-hmm.
Like where are we at in these underwears in the picture? Like, can you tell like where we're at in like lifetime of the pair of underwear?
No, but I can tell you where we are, because I think we're in Finland here, because you've got the bruise that you got from playing with Pigface on your thigh.
Ooh, I forgot about that.
And then I'm wearing the Helsinki Industrial Festival wristband, and it looks like those squats I've been doing have been paying off. I got a little bit of a little muscle.
You have some nice legs. That's one thing I would say about you when you're getting ready, when you're changing for shows. I'm always like, Daniel, you have very nice legs, don't I?
Yes.
Look at those things. You have nice legs.
Thank you.
Here, check this out. Remember that? Being in an airport.
Minsk.
Remember when we used to go on airplanes?
Is that Minsk? Yeah. I think this is when we had to leave Jared behind, right?
No. Is it?
No.
I feel like the mood was a little weird there. I don't know if we would have been taking such a fun photo. We would have been like, all right, see you, Jared. Get to Moscow.
But,
here, let's take this photo with the luggage. This is before we gave the luggage in, I guess.
No, I think this is because we took Jared's luggage. We took his microphones, and we're like, we'll take care of it, buddy.
That's right. This is right after we left him.
We took all of his microphones, and we left him in we're like, no, we left him in Kiev, right?
Yeah, and he had to get to Moscow, right? No. He couldn't get into Kiev. So we left him in St. Petersburg or Minsk. And then
we left him in St. Pete, and then we met him in Moscow. Mm-hmm. So we didn't have him in Minsk or in Kiev.
No, he was in Minsk.
Was he?
Yes.
Oh, okay. This is what happened then. At the Minsk airport, he couldn't go to Kiev, so we flew him to St. Petersburg, and he got like, or we flew him to Moscow from Minsk, right?
I'm so fucking confused right now, dude.
All right. Well, look, that's Jared's luggage, and I'm pretty sure that's Minsk airport.
And this, I think, was our very first VIP. Was
That
this
is
it?
It was our very first VIP.
And
at the what's it called in Bristol? What's the venue?
Well, Ara, who's in this picture, should know. Ara is part of the Let's party, and she's definitely here watching. What's that? Mm-hmm. Is it called the beer Keller? Is that it?
No.
What is this place called?
Okay.
Guys, what's that venue? Ara, what's this venue called?
I keep wanting to call it Ivory Blacks, but that's in Glasgow.
You know, this is the backstage, which is like up on top. There's always something about the venues in the UK, right? Like, there's always something. In this venue, the ceilings are like this, and for me being tall, that means that like I only have about this much of the room that I can walk around in, because I'm gonna hit the fucking ceilings. The fleece. That's it. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I don't know about you, but I really enjoy, this speed gaming idea I've had for many years, and like I could never get anyone to kind of like, I don't know, sign up for my kookiness. And you, one of my favorite things about being in the band with you is maybe it's just because you're not too sick of me yet, and you just kind of listen to my ideas, and you're like, we could try that idea, and you do the stuff. And what I experienced on doing these because you look at like I feel like a lot of the bands in this genre try to do a little more personable VIPs, but like if you look at like, let's say Kiss or someone, or just like, I don't know, some mid-level band, like what a lot of people do is like, it's the VIP is like everyone's lined up at a table, everyone lines up, and you walk and you go one by one, picture, autograph, go. And it's like,
it's an assembly line.
Yeah, it sucks. And I really just had this idea, and then what we would normally do is just like hang out with people, right? So, but then a lot of times, like there's some people that are nervous, some people a little awkward, band members too that are awkward and don't know like fucking how to talk to people, what to say, and I was always like, this idea would be great because it's gonna get everyone to do something, and like no one has to worry about, and it always broke the ice so good, and it was so much fun. Like, what did you think about it?
Well, I was super apprehensive at the onset as well. I was like, dude, do you want to do this? This is fucking, I don't know. It's like, I mean, to be honest, at first I was like, that's kind of dumb. But, when you sit and think about the everything that you just said about being an icebreaker, being something that's like super fresh for the people taking part in it, especially the people that, are used to the assembly line meet and greets. It's a fucking story to tell, right? Like, this is something for people to take home and tell all their friends about. And I think that is a really, really valuable thing to have for your audience, to have a really positive memory associated with, going to your show. So it just really ticks all the boxes. And, I thought, okay, let's just give it a try. And I ended up having a fucking blast doing it. So, I think it's important, even though I often feel like I've got it all figured out, right? Like, I got to be humble enough to know that my ideas are not all gold, and it's important to listen to other people because they might know what they're talking about.
Yeah. And it's important to try new things, even if like, I think even if things fail, right? I've worked with people who all just like have super control of everything and don't want to let any outside influences like kind of change things around or whatever. And after a while things become a little stale. I think it's important to be open-minded to kind of keep things fresh and like take other people's ideas and see how things can evolve. But thank you for always listening to my crazy ideas and trying them with me.
Yeah, I think really, really sort of, let's say, Billy Corgan said something on the Joe Rogan podcast that like really sort of changed my perspective on all of this kind of stuff. And he said, the audience began their sort of relationship with the artist because the artist is a rebel, because they were doing something different. Like you don't fall in love with a band because you're like, oh, this is exactly like what I've heard 1,000 times before. Mm-hmm. Like you fall in love with something because you're like, this is different and it's exciting. And if you just sort of like resign yourself to kind of repeating the same playbook just for your entire career, then you are doing exactly the opposite of what made your fan base fall in love with you. So even if you have some misses, because there will always be hits and misses, at least you're trying. And if you fail 99 times, that 100th time you're going to connect with something that is amazing and will connect with your fan base too. And I think most fan bases are mature enough to know that. And even if they say that they want like the same thing over and over again, they don't.
Agreed. And that brings me to what about playing in front of new people every night? What about opening for a bigger band and playing in front of new people and experiencing them experiencing you for the first time, and then at the end of the show you're standing in front of that? What'd that feel like?
Now that is definitely one of the perks of touring. And so, even I am a performer in those moments. I do live for those moments.
I remember this show specifically. Right before we went on stage, we had like we were standing there, and where is this? Is this Cologne?
No, that's Munich. Yeah.
And I just remember, because I remember the stage, and I remember we were like right in the back, and we had this talk about you getting nervous before you go on stage, and I was just like, what? Like I know that some people still get nervous when they go on stage, and like I just don't. I get like more anxious, and like I get really excited, and it's like I'm like letting a ball of energy out that it's like it could suck, but like I'm just like about to go through an experience, and I'm like, all right, let's just do it, And and on that, I remember you were like, yeah, man, I'm nervous. What if these people don't like us? And I think that's kind of cool to have that balance between you and I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're being corrected. This is Cologne. So
it is
you
Cologne.
were right.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, and then every once in a while, I'm going to talk about something a little funny now. Every once in a while, you're on stage and you smell something a little funny and you make a face like this. But let's talk about the smell, Daniel. Like sometimes, it's okay. You don't have to look at the picture of yourself. I want to have a serious conversation now. Sometimes we're on stage and all of a sudden, yeah, it's perfect. And all of a sudden you might smell something a little weird. And everyone first is looking at each other on the stage to see if someone's going to be like that was me, but like then, sometimes and then sometimes everyone's like, wasn't me, and then you're just like, no, it was you, like all with your eyes during a song. And then really, it could be someone in the crowd. Doing a little fuffy. And then you smell it in the stage. And you know what makes me nervous? Because I really try really hard not to fuffy on stage, because I know there's hundreds, if not thousands, of people right in front of me, and I don't want one of those people to smell my fuffy while I'm up there being cool. I'm moving my arms a lot, making noise. But then when I smell the fuffy, I get nervous someone think I made the fuffy. I do. I'm like, fuck, everyone thinks it's me. I'm the asshole in the band. I'm the guy that farts. I get nervous.
Just blame Christian.
You remember what happened after the show, right?
No.
You got mad. You got mad about the fuffing. You know what you did? First thing you did was you shaved your head.
Uh-huh.
Then you went a little crazy.
I do remember that.
Let's talk about this. That was my umbrella. I was pretty upset with it. I just got it in I think I was in Prague. I got that umbrella. It was like $15. I also got like a marionette of like a clown, and they gave me actually 2 umbrellas, but then I gave one away to a fan, and then I was left with this green umbrella, and you got mad and you broke it.
The paparazzi was chasing me. I'm sorry.
True. I found this picture today, and it made me feel really good. This is one of my... If I said to you, could you think of a favorite picture of you and I? Could you think of one?
Off the top of my head, maybe not.
Maybe not.
But I'm sure if I'm not being put on the spot, I'm sure I could. But since I've got an audience,
well, this is one of my favorite pictures of us. I feel like it really sums up where we were at on tour, and like loving the tour and our lives and each other and being grateful. And I just like feel like it's all over our faces. You're a little nervous right now, aren't you? You are.
Yeah.
This is like my favorite picture of us.
Okay, yeah, that's a really good one.
That
would probably be like the number one for me as well.
And it looks like we're having fun.
We were genuinely having a great time.
Yeah, and it's like you can't even tell at first glance that I'm actually holding the trunks of the elephants as if there are penises. But that's what I think I meant, knowing me. But this is one of my favorite pictures.
No, it's a great one.
Yeah. Now I want to actually, I am going to put you on the spot now.
All right.
I don't know how you're going to feel about this, but this is going to be probably the most exciting thing for everyone in here who's an Aesthetic Perfection fan to witness firsthand. You ready for this, buddy? As everyone knows, we are in search of a keyboard player. So I would like to talk a little bit lightly about some of the conversations that we've had about, having to be faced with the challenge of replacing someone who's so great on stage and off stage. And for me, whenever I can't be in a band anymore, or like I need someone to fill in for me, I'm always looking for people who can fill in for me that are better than me. Like I would never want someone to go in the band who sucked, and I think that we've talked. I think that whoever's going to be filling in now is going to have some big shoes to fill, and we've talked about this, and I love that we're both on the same page. I love that this is not an easy decision for either one of us, because that excites me, because Elliot so fucking good on stage, and we're gonna have to find someone that can, I don't want to say rival, it's not a competition, but I'm excited to find someone that is just as good as him, mm-hmm. and we've gone over a lot of names of people, and we were still talking about it, and it's not been an easy decision, an easy topic. We haven't been like, this is what we need to do. It's been tough. But there is one person that we've talked about, and I have a new keyboard player for us.
Oh, do you?
Yes. And I wonder if, I don't want you to guess the name out loud. You know what you should do? Why don't you have a piece of paper nearby?
Yes.
Off camera, I want you to write the name of who you think it is, because someone has committed to being our keyboard player. And I want you to write it off camera and close it and put it away.
Is it like someone who is a dedicated keyboardist?
I'm not going to answer that, because we've talked about, like, we don't know. We have people in mind that are dedicated keyboard players. We have people in mind that are all around people. But you also know where I stand on the issue and what I would like the band to turn into. So that's the only hint I'll give you.
I'm writing down the keyboardist.
Yeah.
All right.
You guys, like, while he's thinking, why don't you guys put your ideas down in the little side over there? But they don't know what we've talked about, so you just got to pick. Come on, I need the. What do I need? I need some kind of a party noise. What's this? Oh fuck no! I want like the Jeopardy song. I got to get the Jeopardy song in here.
I mean.
Don't let anyone see it.
I'm not.
All right, you got your idea on paper? All right. Daniel, it took not too much, a little bit of coaxing, a few conversations over the period of the last few months, and I'm excited to let you know that your new keyboard player is... What a build-up, huh? There he is. He's been practicing hard. You know what his favorite song to play live is?
What?
The Great Depression.
Oh.
He said he wants to open and close with it.
Oh, he's fired.
Well, look. How fucked up would it have been if I would have named your new keyboard player in front of all these people?
Well, I mean, I thought you were gonna. I thought it was gonna be some kind of. I don't know. I thought you might surprise me actually with something real because you're so fucking crazy.
Well, I have been hard at work on some conversations that we've spoken about anyway. But obviously it's a little bit too early to talk about that. So instead,
Yes.
Let's talk about your Uncle Jared. No, I'm just kidding. Let's go back to this. How have you been taking in all these Bernie pictures?
I think they're funny.
You know what? I feel like this motherfucker reset the internet. Like I feel like like everything's been so fucking crazy, like in building up, and then all of a sudden like no matter which side you were on, whatever, this motherfucker's standing there with those mittens on the seat, and it's like everyone's like, all right, this is it. We're starting over now. That's how I feel. I don't know. I've been trying not to. I just keep trying to stay away from like any negativity, and you couldn't look on your feed for the past few days without seeing like everyone got on this bandwagon. Everyone. Yeah. And it was neat. Like, has anyone interviewed him about this?
Yeah. He said he is stoked that, I mean, I don't think he used the word stoked, but he said essentially that he's like really happy that the world sees that they make really good mittens in Vermont and they have good parkas.
I love it. I love it. Oh, man. Well, you know what? Do you have anything that you want to talk about, Daniel?
No, I don't actually.
Okay.
This is your show, but it is getting late, and my wife is reminding me of the fact that it's getting late.
It's okay. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna end in a minute, and I feel like there was a lot of people that wanted to ask questions, but here's the thing. This is the first time that I'm ever doing this, and what I notice what a lot of other people do when they're doing this for the first time is they kind of like invite their like throwaway person to do it, and then like they work out the kinks with them. But you're like one of the most important people in my life, and I love you very much. So I just want to do it with you again, like in a couple of months when I'm really like dialed in, and then like I'm gonna have even fucking more embarrassing shit to put in the middle of the screen.
Oh yeah.
And that is when we can take more questions. I'm gonna be a little more, I mean, I made a list of stuff we were going to talk about. I didn't even get halfway through it, and I was nervous it was going to take 10 minutes. So let's call it a day in a minute. But I just wanted to. I have these things here, and I don't think that I could save them for next time. I haven't even read these since New Year's. Emma, Darian, and I went to a friend's house, and they made these like 2021 intentions. And I want to share with you. They're short. They're short. Mm-hmm. My answers are short, so I'm gonna share with everyone my answers to the question, and then you can share yours, and then we'll say goodbye.
Sounds good.
Okay. 2021 intentions. I want to quit eating bad foods late at night. What about you?
Yeah, I also wanna quit eating later at night. Like I want to quit snacking. Snacking's bad. I'm trying to stop that.
Me too. But it's good too. It's bad, but it's good. I want to start exercising, which I did. I started on January 1st. And I will say that your videos of your hammies doing the hammy dance have been a big inspiration to me.
Yeah.
What do you want to start?
It's unfortunately too cold. I can't go running here. It's like below freezing. It's super snowy and icy, so I can't do any of that. But I've been working out like almost every day. If I take a day off now, it's just for the weekend. So like I'll take Saturday off or something like that. But that was like my big thing. I really wanted to make sure that I was going to be working out more, and I've been sticking to it since even before the new year. I was like, okay, I'm just going to do this every single day. So it's been really good. I want to keep it up.
I like that. I want to learn music production, which I've bought Logic and I've gotten microphones for my drums, and I'm going to start contributing drum noises to records, hopefully Cyber Perfection ones.
Yeah.
What about you? What do you want to learn?
I want to learn Ableton. I don't know how to produce an Ableton, and I think that there's a lot to be gleaned from it. I think Logic is going to stay my like main primary thing, but there's so many cool stuff, so many cool things that you can do with Ableton that you can't do with Logic, and I'm like super excited about kind of widening my. I imagine all of these things as being different like colors on your palette, right? So I'm interested in broadening my palette so that I can paint better sonic pictures.
I like that. That's how I feel about languages. I really want to learn German, of course, because I'm there a lot, and sign language. But I didn't put that on my goals because I feel like it's unrealistic for me this year. I have a lot of other goals. I feel like sign language is going to come in my 50s. I want to. Yeah, a couple of these are a little boring. I'm gonna skip. Let's just go to the last one. What would I do if there was no way to fail? I'm gonna let you answer that one first, and then I'm gonna end this off with my answer.
If there was no way to fail, that's tough because I think what makes so many of the really some of the things that I enjoy most in my life are the things with the biggest amount of risk, right? Like from, playing a show to making music to getting married, like all of these things come with like a great amount of responsibility and risk. And I think that if I were to undertake these things without that risk, it would diminish how special it is. So I don't know if I would want to do anything that wouldn't fail. Right,
because then like how boring would it be to be putting energy into something that you knew you didn't really have to put that energy into if it was just going to work?
Exactly. There would I think that the way that the human brain works, it would click in a different way, and I think it just wouldn't be as satisfying. Like I will say this, like I am obsessed with mountaineering documentaries. Like I love watching documentaries about people fucking climbing mountains. I would never do it because I'm so terrified of doing it. So I'm tempted to be like, I would like to climb Everest, but I don't think that I would even enjoy climbing Everest if I knew that I would make it and survive.
That's closer to the answer that I gave.
Okay.
Imagine this. Skydiving naked without a parachute.
That would probably still be gratifying to do.
Can you imagine? When you see people skydiving, and like their face is like, and they're like everything's fucking wiggling all nuts. Can you imagine your manhood trailing behind through your legs, like tickling your butt crack a little bit? Oh, it's
It
like
would be
that.
like-
Oh, you're well endowed, manhood. I'm just like this, like beep, beep, wait. Beep, 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 beep.
It would be like one of those like auto dealership like crazy wind blowing guys.
Oh yes, like me when I'm playing the drums.
Yeah.
That's what I would
You know
do,
what?
Daniel.
I'll tell you what though. I'll change my answer. I would play the lottery.
Ooh,
Oh.
that's a good one. I'm jealous I didn't think of that one. Duh. Everyone's been freaking out over the Powerball the past few days. I never played the lottery because you're not going to win the lottery, man. You know?
No, but I would play it if I knew that I wouldn't fail.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was a good comeback. All right, buddy. Look, you need to get to bed. You know, Mara's gonna massage your little hammies. Stephanie's gonna pat your head. And you're gonna go off to little dreamland. What are you gonna dream about tonight?
My podcast appearance tomorrow.
Oh, want to talk about it?
Well, we haven't said it. We haven't like locked in all the details, but
Well, it's not going to be live.
live.
It's not going to be live. So
No, I know, but I don't want to like jinx it by like super like you know.
I'll
like, I
do
feel
it.
like-
No, I won't do it. Yeah,
no, don't do it.
We've connected. I've helped to connect Daniel with another podcast that he's going to be doing tomorrow. I won't be there, but it's going to be awesome. And I'm also doing the same podcast this week, I think.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Well,
so-
fingers crossed. I hope it works out. I will keep you posted, and I will keep everybody here posted on the state of it if it happens. When it happens. I'm manifesting that it will happen.
Cool. Me too. It'll happen. I'll make sure it happens. All right.
Sick.
Well, thank you so much for spending so much time with me. I'm sorry it took so long. Thank you for helping me organize this microphone situation. Thank you for answering my questions. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you for accepting me for who I am. Thank you for holding me accountable when I do stupid shit and not judging me and helping me to be the best version of me that I can be. I love you.
I love you too. I do it with pleasure, and as a the way you can pay me back is to come on my show where I do this exact same thing.
I would love that. Let's do it tomorrow.
No.
Okay, maybe next week.
All right,
Bye.
sounds good. Bye, everybody.